Good morning, everybody. I don't know whose ridiculous idea it was to put something out at 7 a.m, but we have been up for a while at Festival HQ. And but here we are, back in the Laidlaw Music Centre. I hope you enjoyed our dawn chorus from St. Salvator's Choir, and then that you enjoyed the specially curated performance by the 16. That's not the last we've heard of the 16. They will, of course, present a choral meditation for us to close the festival this evening. So I'm Amanda, the festival director, and I'm here this morning with Chris Bragg from the university's Music Centre, just to give you a little welcome and to give you a glimpse of what life is like here as part of the festival and also as the Music Centre, and also just to sort of portray to you how important and how loved singing is in this amazing town. Singing and the human voice is one of the most powerful things. It's something that is common to us all. Really, a child probably sings before they do anything else. And I hope that today's programme sort of portrays that love and of singing and the importance of it. There really is something for every single person in your family, for every demographic, for every age group, and that was really important to us when we were putting together this slightly bizarre and very last minute, I have to admit, programme, but there we go. So Chris, singing in St Andrews has been around for years. Some of you may have read Chris's blog post, which is available on our website about singing in St Andrews, and I wonder if you could tell us a bit about that history.
Oh gosh, well, singing is really part of the DNA of this town and indeed of our university. And that's something which goes really all the way back to the Middle Ages, and those relics of St Andrew that brought so many pilgrims here in the Middle Ages also prompted the construction of what in fact was the largest church ever built in Scotland, the cathedral, just across the way here. And while that was being constructed, so between roughly the 12th and the 14th centuries, one of the bishops at the time decided that he wanted to have a copy of the first flowering of polyphonic vocal music. That was the music of Léonard and Perrotin, of course, from the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. And he wanted that in a way, not just because he liked the music, but he wanted to enrich the liturgy, but also he wanted to raise the status of his cathedral in a manner which paralleled that of the Cathedral of Notre Dame. So it's extraordinary to think that those singers in St Andrews in the 14th century were singing that music by Léonard and Perrotin. But that book, which contains many, many pieces of music, doesn't just consist of the music from Paris, but there is music in there even by local composers, probably composed around here at the time. Now, the slight shame for St Andrews is that that amazing collection, that St Andrews music book, disappeared from St Andrews in the late 16th century, and it's been in Germany ever since. The source is called W1, and it resides in Wolfenbüttel. But there have been many other moments since then when singing has played such a critical part, in fact, in the cultural DNA of St Andrews. So, for example, some of the first students of the university in the 15th century, the mid-15th century more or less, were obliged to sing in the still Catholic services in our chapel here, and they were known as the Choristi Sancti Andrei. At the time of the Reformation, there was a very special clergyman. He was called Thomas Woad, and he had been a monk, and he became a Presbyterian clergyman at Holy Trinity Church here, and he produced an amazing Songbook, a collection of the new 105 psalm tunes in harmonizations by a Scottish composer called David Peebles. But once again, like the earlier St Andrews book, there's also music by local composers, and it seems as if Woad in fact wanted to preserve the history of polyphonic singing in Scotland at a time when the Reformation had threatened that so much. So you have music by Palestrina, you have music by Tallis sitting alongside music by Scottish composers, by Andrew Blackhall, for instance, who had also been a monk. So there are all these moments through history, and now here we are in the 21st century, and there's probably more singing, at least in normal times, more singing going on here than at any time before in St Andrews, in fact.
Gosh, and so you mentioned a lot of local composers. Many of you will know that we, this evening at 7 o'clock, are launching a new Scottish songbook. Chris, I wonder if you could give us a glimpse, without giving too much away, of what we are wanting to do with that, and obviously build on the traditions of all these local composers being involved in a publication.
Absolutely. Well, the St Andrews Scottish Songbook, as it will be called, will be a collection of 24 new settings, arrangements for singer and piano, of what we hope will be an enormous variety of Scottish song, representing all the different traditions of Scottish traditional song. So from Orkney in the north, we hope there'll be some Gaelic song in there, perhaps some Doric songs. And we will be looking for composers to contribute a lot of those songs, composers who were either born in Scotland or who are living or studying here. And we're really excited because Jamie Mcdougal, who is going to sing the collection finally in 2022 when it's finished, is going to be joining us later, singing some songs by some of the composers who've already been commissioned to contribute songs to the collection. And we'll be then making a big push to encourage as many composers as possible to take part in the project.
Thank you. So obviously it's really evident that singing is so important here in St Andrews, and we're actually feeling very lucky and honoured to be in this new amazing space. You will get a glimpse of it. You will have had a glimpse of it last night. I'm really sorry that you can't see the whole thing. We've got a huge rig of cameras and audio set up and taking up most of the space in the room. But it's a really exciting hall. It's very, very unique, particularly to Scotland, to the UK. Chris is probably even going to tell me Europe and the world. But this is the Macpherson Recital Hall in the new Laidlaw Music Centre. If you're local to St Andrews, I encourage you to come and walk down, particularly now with the autumn leaves. It's absolutely beautiful outside. Current restrictions probably don't allow you to come in, but let's hope in the coming months that we will be able to get an audience, and I can promise you that voices will be part of that. The reverb in this space with unaccompanied choral singing is just going to be insane, I think. Chris, could you just tell us a bit about where you've come with this building? I'm sure it's been many years in the process, but we're finally in it.
Yeah, we're extraordinarily fortunate here at the University of St Andrews, and indeed it's been the better part of 5 years of our lives working on this project to create this building, which of course is all centered around music. And I've been talking just now about the very long tradition of singing and of music making in St Andrews going back to the Middle Ages. But this is the first time a building has really been built in St Andrews purely for music making and with that in mind. And the space we're in at the moment, this is the Macpherson Recital Room. And indeed, it is a completely unique space in the world. This is the smallest performing space in the world with a reverberation chamber in the ceiling. So the real ceiling itself is something like 17 meters above my head, and we can tune the acoustic in amazing ways. But right from the start, we wanted to create a space for singing and especially for choral singing. And the footprint of this room is actually rather small, but because of the reverberation chamber, because of the ways in which we can tune the space, thanks to Nick Edwards, who's an incredible acoustician and venue consultant who worked in the past, among other projects, on Birmingham Symphony Hall, the Dallas Symphony Orchestra's hall, and other rather special spaces. We have this incredible room. The other thing we can do, which is a little difficult at the moment because of all the tech that's sitting on the floor, as Amanda said, we have this amazing flexible floor. We have 82, I think it is, panels on the floor, each 2 meters by 1 meter, and we can move every one of them individually up or down a meter and a half. And it means that we can, in fact, set the room up in any way we like. And you might see a little bit of that in the shows later on.
Thanks, Chris. So, yeah, I guess that's really time for us to crack on with the rest of the day. What I just encourage you to do is do comment, and particularly under this video, if you've got any questions for Chris or myself about the festival, where we're going, the history of singing in St Andrews, do feel free to comment. We're slightly short of staffed, as you can imagine, with COVID restrictions, so we're not actually currently live interacting with you right now because I've got my team behind me here, in front of me here even, but we'll pop out onto the laptops afterwards, so if you do have any questions, do feel free to ask them. Now, singing is so important to us. It's such a powerful thing. We are so fortunate to be here together performing. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Most of the performances will be available for up to 30 days after. So we've got a whole other month to enjoy them. So do come back and rewatch them, or if you can't tune into everything because it is a pretty busy schedule, then do remember to tune in later. And it's really great to hear where people are coming from, where in the world. We had someone watching Wednesday's lunchtime concert from Texas, which is amazing. We had people watching from across Europe last night, and hopefully that worldwide spread will continue, because that is the amazing thing about digital and streaming these live. So this morning is quite busy. Something that's not advertised is actually the students at St Andrews are having a Zoom masterclass with Brindley Sherritt, who is zooming in from Zurich, having performed an opera there last night. So that's just about to take place in this amazing space. We've got a choral workshop with Eamon Dugan and the 16, and lots of family shows this morning, the beatboxing workshop, and also Nikos are doing a mini music makers session for toddlers and babies. So there we go, and you will see me again at 1 o'clock, all going well, that it'll be 1, and not a minute early and not a minute after. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to Chris, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Distant Voices Festival.